Hi, welcome to Sportsy. Let's talk sports. It's been some time that we've been talking about multiple aspects of sports. We have spoken about sports commercialization. We have spoken about athlete development. We have spoken about athlete management. We have spoken about branding, marketing, education. Today, on occasion of India's National Sports Day, 29th August, we are going to talk to Deep Mukherjee on making India play. Deep has been a business head and CEO, having expertise in strategy, P&L, corporate development in multiple companies. He's been part of the leadership team at Star Sports. He launched the Star Sports Network, set up the commentary teams for live and the studio content, worked in MD's office on sports. He's currently driving a lot of strategic initiative on sports and youth games. He's working with Government of India on Khelo India, led inclusion in sports in curriculum in new academic policy of NEP 2020. He was appointed as the CEO of CII National Sports Committee for the period of 2017 to 2020. He has been nominated as a member at UNESCO Geneva in 2019-2020. Before coming into sports, he had a big career in the human side of business. Today, we have with us Deep Mukherjee, Senior Corporate VP, Strategy, Sports Development and New Initiative at Star TV Network, talking to us about making India play on the occasion of National Sports Day. Thank you for all the encouragement that you're giving us on Sportsy. Thank you for liking and sharing it. Please do subscribe on our channel, Sportsy Says, on YouTube, as well as please subscribe to all the handles across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We really appreciate your support. We are here to talk about sports. So let's talk sports on Sportsy Says. Please do subscribe. Thank you. Deep, it's great to have you on Sportsy. Let's talk sports. Today, it's a privilege to have you here on the platform on the day specifically, which is National Sports Day. And it's great to talk to somebody who is in the helm of the whole Making India Play initiative in India with Star Sports and CII. So if you can tell us quick your journey that we have seen, heard about from software to HR to sports. So if you can give us a quick background, so it will be really fun to understand what it means to follow the passion and where you are.
Thank you, Siddharth, for having me on your channel. And it's great to be here and good to see you. Yes, it's been a fascinating journey. And when I reflect back, it's actually the dots existed. I just kept on following the dots. And at hindsight, it gets connected now. But I must confess, when I started off, that's not how I saw it. I had joined from my campus HCL group company called NIIT. And I was where I worked across the country and outside on various projects on IT services, on software services, education, training, etc. And then I happened to join a company called Go4I, which is promoted by Hindustan Times and Chase Capital, where I was responsible for driving a vertical on careers called Go for Careers.
Yeah.
And one thing led to the other, and that was my initiation into the world of HR services. And I happened to find myself as one of the co-founders for a company called TeamLease, which became India's largest HR staffing services company with a very successful IPO in 2016. And as I was looking at consolidating my position there in the HR services, Star reached out for a very unique project they were about to launch. They wanted me to be part of the project team. This was about skills and education using television as a channel, which I thought was very, very innovative and out of the world at that point of time. But I think before we could embark on that journey, the investment by Star in sports happened, where he bought out our joint venture partner ESPN in India and relaunched Star Sports in a new light. And my responsibility was really to put together the entire commentary team across sports within the network, which was a very unique and a very fascinating experience, because I had seen all these heroes play when I was growing up, and it was a surreal feeling to work with them, whether it's Kapil Dev or Sunil Gavaskar, Wasim Akram, Shane Warne, Rahul Dravid, so on and so forth. But it was extremely great learning to work with these sports people across multiple sports. And sometimes later, the managing director at that time, Mr. Sanjay Gupta, who was also the chairman of the CII National Sports Committee, wanted me to be part of his team to driving initiative in grassroots sports, which is when I joined him. And it's been a great experience to be part of the sports committee for the last 3 years, since 2017. And as the CEO of the committee and drive various initiatives on grassroots sports. Making India Play really came from there, and we'll talk about it as we move forward.
Yes.
So that's really been the journey so far.
That's an amazing journey. And you just touched upon the Making India Play, and that's the theme for the day on National Sports Day, Making India Play. So if you can tell us about what is Making India Play and how actually it came to exist.
So Making India Play is about an initiative to promote grassroots in the country and to develop sporting culture in the country. We believe that if sports has to grow in this country, two things have to happen. One, there should be more opportunities for people to play, especially our children. And second, private enterprise has to see it as a business opportunity. It is then that Making India Play was born with the vision of making 300 million children play sports 1 hour daily. With the assumption that the entire school-going children, which is about 300 million in this country, across 2 million schools, should be playing sports for at least an hour every day, which is also the WHO norms of healthy living for children. So Making India Play had 3-point agenda really. One was to drive the participation of sports in education, so make sports an integral part of the education. So the child in the country plays sport as much as he or she does English, Hindi, physics, maths as a subject. That was one. Second was to drive more investment opportunities in this country. Because while sports has grown in this country for the last 5 to 6 years' time, it's really been a top-down approach where there's IPL and ISL and PKL. But I think the country of our size and magnitude needs a multitude of sporting events at grassroots level, at block level, district level, state level. And that was the intent of Making India Play, to make it bottoms up really, getting the private enterprise to get involved from an investment standpoint. And the third agenda really has been to develop a sporting culture in this country where people value sports and see sports as part of their day-to-day life. Just the way it happens in Australia or US, where a weekend or a Sunday morning really is kept aside for a lot of sporting initiatives and activities. So that's really Making India Play. And I'm very happy to report that some of the agenda which we have started off 3 years back have had a huge movement in the positive direction. And I'm extremely happy to see the way Making India Play has grown in the last few years.
Wow. And while you're talking about the Making India Play, that's where I got an opportunity to meet with you and understand the whole aspect of Making India Play and what can we do. And believe me, it's so fascinating that 300 million, we are the youngest country in the world, and 300 million kids playing 1 hour every day. It's something that is a dream to see getting realized in India. So while the Making India Play was happening, we also had a start of Khelo India, and Star Sport had a big initiative and big role to play in Khelo India. So how do you think the impact of Khelo India has been on Making India Play? Or vice versa? Sure.
So I think, let me give you quick statistics. In India, the average play time for a child is about 40 minutes a week. Okay. If you compare it with the global at a global level in developed countries, almost 14 to 15 hours a week. So that's the kind of difference we are really talking about. And I think it's really imperative that we make our kids go out and play. We thought the best way to do that is to make it a part of their educational drive, where every child, irrespective of his or her interest in sports, gets an opportunity to play there with the intent of having fun and playing, not with the intent of still becoming a champion.
Right.
You see, we have treated sports as an outcome variable in our country for a very long time, wherein in the reality is actually input factor. It's an input factor to holistic development and growth, education, etc., etc. And I think we have been saying for a very long time that we need to start looking at sports with the lens of education. We need to start looking at sports as an input variable to quality education. And it is with this in mind that we approached the government to embark on sports in a curriculum, at the curriculum level. And I'm extremely happy to say that the Ministry of Human Resources and Development reciprocated in a very positive manner and launched the program called Samagra Shiksha, which is about holistic development in school sports, and something which we have actively involved in. And I'm extremely happy to say that the Central Board of Secondary Education, which is the largest education board in this country, mandated one sports period a day for all classes. This I think has been a huge landmark movement in this country. Among the things which we were propagating is including sports in curriculum in the new education policy, which was being spearheaded by Dr. Kasturi Rangan at that point of time. Mm-hmm. And among the various initiatives which we have been driving, I think I'm happy to say that the inclusion of sports in curriculum has been taken up in the new NEP 2020, which is very, very reassuring. Khelo India is an initiative by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, which I think will go a long way to make sports a part of our school life. It's actually an event which happens over a 2 to 3 week period, where schools, children, where the various faculties compete on various sports. Khelo India is really an outcome, the way we see it. It's the outcome of an event, which is a sports tournament, really. Right. Making India Play is an input. The way we see it, it's an input to encompass more and more schools in the country to ensure that every child gets a chance to play and then compete at various levels, and then eventually moves into a Khelo India format of competition. Right. So the intent at our end with the Ministry of Sports is to increase the base of the Khelo India and really make it a larger event or spanning about 6 to 8 months than the 2 to 3 weeks, which is now. Two things will happen as a fallout of that. It will become a very integral part of the school sports system and will encourage more children to play and participate. And with the quality of the game will only go on to improve. So Khelo India and Making India Play are complementary to each other and really contribute to the whole cause of making sports a part of our culture, which is also the initiative by the Government of India, Ministry of Sports, as well as the CII National Committee on Sports.
Right. As you rightly said, the Making India Play and Khelo India together can actually become our culture. And it actually leads to my next question, which was around in India, we talk about, and some of the numbers that you mentioned, the 40 minutes a week is something that is like, it's really shocking. But to go with those numbers, I think one thing we have to do is get sports into the lifestyle. So at one side we have participative sport and one side we have competitive sports. So how do you think that it actually can have we can have find a balance between competitive and participative to inculcate sports into our lifestyle? So what is that government can do, or also Star Sports or CII can do or propose to make it happen to get into lifestyle?
Sure. So I think let me give you a few examples, and which are very, very heartwarming events on sports that happen across the country. There's a hockey festival that happens in Coorg called Kodagu Hockey Festival, which I think is one of its kind in the world. And I had the privilege of visiting a few years back as the chief guest of the event. It's a fascinating one because the whole community comes together on a single point agenda of playing hockey within the community. So people come from far away countries outside the country, outside of India, and congregate in Coorg. And the entire event is run as a carnival time for the whole society to come together, participative sport. But very competitive hockey is really played, with the cup going to the winner and so on and so forth. The local industry gets involved through sponsorships and advertisements and all of that. The local government gets involved. And I think what most encouraging is that the entire society comes together and comes to play that event. Okay, so that's one. Similarly, if I see an event called the Baby League in Shillong, started by my close friend Larsing Ming Saiwan, it's about kids coming out playing football on alternate weekends. And I think some extremely good football is played, but more importantly, the entire society again comes together. Similarly, there is another incident which I had been part of, which is Nasik Adventure Sports Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all these experiments really are about getting the society to participate in sports with the outcome of a competitive sport being there. So in my mind, I think the participative sport and the competitive sport exist side by side. Is really complementary the other one. And as I keep saying, I think what India needs today is a multitude of sporting events at whatever level. It could be a school level, it could be district level, it could be state level, panchayat level. And I think as we create more sporting events, two things happen. One, the culture of sports starts seeping into our lives, and we look forward to that event happening on a particular day or particular days of the month. I think your competitive spirit to participate and win in those sports goes up, and we see some very competitive and quality sports happening there as well. So this actually runs side by side. One does not replace the other, but one actually accentuates the other.
This at the end is something that we want to see, which is a lifestyle. And
that's right.
And you spoke about pockets. So I have Ming is a very close friend as well. So I whenever I get to go there and we get to see what the passion that he has towards the sport beyond Shillong Lajong FC and the way he develops that and some other things. So, but unfortunately, what we see is India is still working on in the pockets when it comes to sports and not getting the holistic view of the everything that can happen across India. And I think the Making India Play with 300 million kids, if they can play 1 hour every day, they are going to be part of the whole of India in 5 years as the adults. And I think that is what the whole lifestyle change can happen. So while we are on this topic, and you spoke about the CBSE board having implemented the whole the new policy about sports development, we also know that you had presented a paper in UN in Geneva on the sports development and how the whole Making India Play is going to make impact on India's cultural development towards sports. So do we get to see the finally sports as a part of SDGs with this, or is it something else beyond that can happen?
No, I think I must share that the so I was part. I'm currently the part of an intergovernmental body on sports and physical education at the UN in Geneva. It's called CIGEPS, the CIGEPS. This is a body which really works very closely for propagating the cause of education, quality education, SDG, and intends to use sports as a very strong integral part of improving the quality of education. And I was absolutely impressed with the kind of data points which I saw emerge from various parts of the world where UN is working on. In terms of collating data on how many children are participating in sports, what has been the improvement level in their academics, what has been the kind of changeover in the societal behavior, what kind of impact has it made on diversity and inclusion. So we are realizing that sports can actually go on to contribute in a very big way on improving the quality of education. I must share this with you. As per a Brookings Institution in Washington, they have a report which says that it takes 6 generations to bridge the education gap between a developed and a developing nation, unless until some really innovative tools are employed. It's very profound, which basically means that our children will not be able to compete with their counterparts in the developed countries until unless some really innovative tools are employed to leapfrog education. So to my mind, and I've been propagating this with the government as well, sports to my mind is that low-cost, high-impact strategy which can actually leapfrog education and developing economies. Mm-hmm. Now, we all know that sports actually goes on to improve the personality traits, behavioral traits in children. But there's empirical data now emerging which says that actually good for academic learning as well as learning outcomes.
Right.
And that's something we believe can really go a long way to improve the quality of education in developing nations. And that is what the UN mission is also all about, to improve the quality, to work on the education SDG, using sports as a very integral part of as an input factor. To my mind, I think India is quite far in terms of some of the policies and ideas. I think it's the challenge we are facing today is because of the size, some of the things are not easily implementable, given the size, demography, and the spread of our country. And I think that's one of the things we have been trying to drive at CII Sports is can we drive some pilots in parts of the country which can become models of success and can be replicated across the length and breadth. So we have identified a set of states in the country where we are embarking on this grassroots initiative, implementation patterns, some models, which can really become a benchmark and can be extrapolated across the country. So I am also mindful of the fact that these things do not happen overnight. It's not a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year game. It's a long-term play. And I think it's important that we drive the whole initiative with a long-term impact factor in mind. To my mind, in the next 5 to 6 years' time, we definitely see some quality improvement happening at the grassroots level.
Excellent. And yes, that is what we want to see as well, because we have to see India beyond cricket. We want to see India not a disappointment after every 4 years, and the encouragement after every year that we want to see the India to have. And this is what the right approach is. You spoke about the demographic challenges or the implementation challenges that India specifically has, irrespective of any policies. So, in the CBSE curriculum, the policy that you're talking about sports being inclusive in the whole overall education system. So, how do you think that can be implemented, and what are the immediate benefits that we are going to see?
So I think CBSE has been extremely progressive with their initiative on developmental education. If you see the earlier notification, which mandated one sports period for every CBSE school in the country, which I think is a very, very progressive one. Another notification is on introduction of vocational education on physical education in schools. So I think if you look at both the notifications in totality, it brings about a radical shift in the way sports has been seen in this country. Unfortunately for us, for a very long time, we have seen sports as an extracurricular activity. It's seen as the indulgence which you do beyond school hours. So if you want to play sports, you typically stay back after the school and become a part of the football or a volleyball or whatever, cricket or whatever. I think for the first time, we're actually saying, look, every child has to get a chance to play. And I think the moment is integrated with the school period system, whereby there is a fixed schedule for maths, physics, English, Hindi, sports, it becomes a part of our lifestyle.
Right.
How they implement it is something which CBSE has been working on for the last few months, and I am extremely happy to see the progress they have made. This is also a very big movement at their end, considering the fact that the school system is very strongly embedded in terms of the timeline and the number of hours a day once the children have to be in schools and all that. So it hasn't been easy. But I think I see a tremendous change in terms of implementing the whole notification by CBSE. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 has taken it back by a few months. But I'm sure that once we reopen and we start going back to our lives, we will again see the resurgence of sports. Just to add on one more point there, among the various things which we suggested to the ministry was also a capsule training for teachers to train children on sports, because it's very easy to say, okay, children should play. But there is a mechanism to make children play. It's a full-blown science. It's not something that they go out and start doing on their own. So there's a fine gross movement, hand-eye coordination. It's a modular structure really. Right. And at our end, what we did a pilot program with about 50 odd schools in the north, who were brought together and imparted a training, which has been endorsed and validated by the MHRD. I think that gives us tremendous amount of confidence that this can be taken across to even the remotest locations in the country and for an implementation standpoint. Coupled with various sporting events which we launched, whether it's Kabaddi Fest or Soccer Fest in the country, it only makes the case for children looking forward to sports very aggressively. So children play, and there is an event which happens almost on a weekly basis, which allows them to compete in a competitive manner, like you said earlier. So it's participation and competition running hand in hand. And that's really been the model which we have been, running across few pilot locations in the country.
That is very encouraging, and really wish that we had something like this 30 years back when we were in the school days. Probably few more champions would have come out, and not India wouldn't have lost to few more champions. But nevertheless, this is really good to know what is happening at the CBSE level. And finally, we'll get to see a sports teacher is not bullied by the maths teacher and the English teacher. And he and she gets their own due and their own period. So we spoke about what is the policy, what is making India play, how is the policy happening, or how the school is implementing. In Making India Play, you spoke about another very big aspect of investment coming into sports. So we have seen Reliance Foundation playing a big role. JSW is been doing a phenomenal job. Then there are multiple things. Also, we have companies like OG, Olympic Gold Quest, Go Sports, and all those people are playing a big role in the whole ecosystem. So how do you think more and more corporates can come forward and get be beneficial towards the development of sports in India through Making India Play?
I think we have to understand that sports is an investment opportunity now. And I think for a long time, we have run sports on borrowed money. We run sports CSR money, which is okay to as a ball kicker, but it's not something which is long-term sustainable. I fundamentally believe that sports revolution is in the making in the next 4 to 5 years' time. If you look carefully in the last 5 years, I mean, there's one sector which have had an explosive growth is really the sports sector.
Yes.
We have had almost every sport now has a successful league with great fan following, great participation, and great revenue model. I think if you look back 25 to 30 years in this country, we have had two large revolutions. One was the IT revolution, and the other was the telecom revolution.
Yes.
So both these revolutions were run on the back of private enterprise, where investment by private enterprise happened, favorable policies by the government, and a very, very participative society through training, through buying computers, learning the interest of learning computers, so on and so forth. I see the same thing happen in the sports domain, where I think the private enterprise has to step in as an investment opportunity. Government policies, which you see in shoots with Khelo India and Fit India, etc. And the society has to come together to make sports, adopt sports as a part of their cultural change happening in the country. I think I'm very, very sure on the private enterprises' visibility on sports in the next 4 to 5 years' time. If you look at a data point, the Indian sports industry is about $2 to $2.5 billion approximately. Okay. Now you can take the COVID factor and reduce it by some points, but essentially that's the kind of market size. This has to be a $15 billion industry in the next 5 years' time. So that's the kind of quantum growth we're talking about. In the current context, we contribute about 0.1% of the GDP. In some developed countries like UK, sports contributes almost 2% of the GDP. So that's again the kind of we are talking about. And these are important data points because I think the way the country will grow, the investment in sports and the output from sports industry will only keep growing. I am of the view that revolutions are not made on borrowed money. Revolutions have to be fought with investments. And I think that's the way I see the sports industry evolving next to 5 to 6 years time. Like some of the names you talked about, whether it's OGQ or the JSW or Reliance Foundation, I think so many opportunities in sports exist, not only at the top end, but even at the bottom end. With content now going hyper-local in this country, thanks to the advent of the OTT devices, I think it's really important to create a lot of multitude of sporting events at various levels. So as a consumer, while I am keen to know what's happening at an international level or at a national level, I'm also keen on knowing what's happening at my mohalla level or my neighborhood level. And I think that's the kind of sync we need to build on sports. And once that happens, investment happens, participation of media happens, and the participation by the society happens to come out and play, we'll see a tremendous change running through our country. If I give you another data point, if you look at the university sports in US, is about $18 billion.
Yes.
If I look at a comparison of that from Indian standpoint, India has 300 million children across 2 million schools. Now, if you're able to create some kind of model on tournaments on school sports, look at the kind of opportunity we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think private enterprises start looking at those opportunities at grassroots level and not necessarily look at the top end level and make those investments to reap benefits moving forward.
Excellent. I think this is really good. And as you rightly said, the wars cannot be won on the borrowed money. I think it is something that we have to make sure that there's a right approach, and somebody, a powerhouse like Star coming together with CII, giving the thing to government, and also CBSE, one of the biggest body, actually implementing that. I think it shows a good side to the whole thing. So in the whole aspect, we always know that India is the place where we follow a lot of idols. Like there's we follow Dhoni, or we follow Kohli, or PV Sindhu, and all those things. So do you think in the whole thing that we can actually see a lot of heroes and sheroes getting made, which is going to be inspirational for kids to follow, because they want to follow something that they can be? While at one side we make an advertisement that I don't want to be next Sachin Tendulkar, I want to be next Siddharth Deshmukh. Perfectly fine. That is good for the advertisement. But still, people will pick up that bat and try to imitate Rahul Dravid or Sachin Tendulkar or a helicopter like Mahi. So how do you think the content side, which also a big side for Star, and the Making India play, which is where the content is there and content can be published, can play a role together towards making these heroes and sheroes?
It necessarily needs heroes and sheroes, like you said. Mm-hmm. You need to have role models. You need to have role models at national level, at international level, but also at a local level. I should be able to look up Ronaldo at a global level. I should be able to look at a Chetri or Baichung at a national level. I should also be able to look at someone at my state level, my district level, my mohalla level, etc. And I think that's the nature of sports, where you create heroes who inspire me to come out and play. And as I move on in my play life, I evolving, and my heroes also keep evolving. Right. So I think it's really important to give an opportunity for a lot of heroes to emerge. So if you look at it, Khelo India, for example, created opportunity for a lot of local heroes which we never knew existed. So if you look at Nisar Ahmed, who came across as a strong athletic capability, was an unknown figure till the time last year Khelo India. And I think that's the model of sports. So when you're creating multiple sporting events, you're also creating opportunities for heroes to emerge. And it is these heroes who inspire the large part of the population at a local level to make people come out and play. I am extremely convinced on the fact that as you create opportunities for events, you will have media gravitating towards that. And as we have media gravitating towards content, more content gets created. So it's a cycle which gets formed, and that's the right way to move forward in sports in any part of the world, really.
Very, very well put through. And while we are on the topic of content and the media and broadcasting, I just want to know, and also the grassroots, I just want to know, what are the career options available for the aspirants in the grassroots industry or the sports development industry in India?
So I think we were trying to do a study a few years back on the what kind of job creation happens in the sports industry. Unfortunately, there is no data point which exists as of now. And it is very important to quickly map it out. I come from a staffing background, and I'm aware of the fact that, if I draw a parallel, I would sort of say that every season of IPL would be creating at least 50,000 jobs, on a temporary basis, which really come alive and die along with the season. But nevertheless, they are jobs. Yeah. And I think that's the way to start monitoring job creation in this country. We unfortunately attach jobs with a longevity, with almost like government jobs. But I think that the genesis of jobs is undergoing a change. And with COVID-19 is one even bigger changes there.
Correct.
So I think first and foremost, you have to understand that the job creation is at multiple levels. It is at a player level, it's at a support level, it's at a business level, it's at a production level.
Right.
And I think we have started mapping out and creating those skill areas and national occupation standards which have to be identified and developed for people to start becoming a part of that. I think the Sports and Fitness Skill Council is doing some good work on that and coming out with a set of national occupation standards on sports. I think in the days to come, I hope it's sooner than later, they will come out with their recommendation on the jobs or job categories, which industry has to start looking at as a input point for hiring decisions. And I think the academia, institutions across the country really have to start investing on those skill areas to create future professionals. Right. We have to be mindful of the fact that job creation will not necessarily be a long-term one. So you will have to have a combination of skills which you need to have for becoming part of the sports industry. And then you specialize in a particular domain moving forward. But right. Yes, in the next 3 to 5 years' time, I see the explosion in the sports-related jobs happening in this country. Just to leave you with one data point, one of the recommendations we have made, if sports education is made mandated across all schools in the country, we can give rise to about 1 to 1.5 million jobs on an immediate basis. So that's the kind of growth and opportunity we are really talking about.
Yeah. So and I think these are the staggering numbers. And as you said in between, right, we have seen only 2 revolutions in India. One is IT and one is telecom. And people need to understand this is a sunrise industry, and not every generation gets to work with it. I think
Absolutely.
and we are lucky to be part of this, and also the whole magnitude that India actually can bring to table. If we can use it well to our advantage, I think it's a phenomenal opportunity that we have. So, Deep, with keeping time in check, I just wanted to get one last question from you on the occasion of National Sports Day today. What is your message to the kids who are playing there, parents who are confused about how much to play, what to play, and what to do, and overall people out there from somebody who is running the strategy and development for one of the biggest stalwart like Star Sports, CII Sports. So, what is your message to everybody who is listening to this on National Sports Day today?
So, I think it's really, really important to understand, and that not every child who plays will become a world-class champion. That's not the intent, really. But it's really important that every child plays for the fun of playing. And I think I put a lot of emphasis on the fact that, children must have fun. I think it's most important to step out and play for the fun of playing without any pressure points there. And I must say, during one of my discussions with Dr. Kasturi Rangan, it took a scientist to come out to make it so easy to understand. Not every child who studies science becomes a scientist. So I see no reason why every child who learns sports has to become a champion in future. And I think that's a very profound statement. It may sound very, very, very easy, but it's a really very strong statement. So my message to all parents, teachers, principals, as well as children, is to not to have the pressure of necessarily performing. Most of the time, we take our coaching camps very seriously. We believe that since I've been part of a coaching camp, I necessarily have to be part of the India team, or play the Olympics or the whatever. I don't think there should be any pressure point. If you're good, you automatically go to the grind and move to the next level. But it's really important for parents to understand that it's a part of the education process for a child. Just the way a parent is concerned about a child's report card in maths and English and physics, etc., etc. It's really important for the parent to be concerned about the child's report card and physical attributes. What is his strength? What is his or her strength? What is the BMI? What is the kind of tenacity he has or he or she has? What is the fine gross movement and body movements, etc. So I think my message here will be to make it very simple. Make children go out play. Let them have a go at playing at least 1 hour every day. There's no compromises on that, and that's the fundamental we can do to give them a healthy and overall development as per the WHO norms, really. If you are able to do that, trust me, I have no doubts in my mind that India will see a really upswing in terms of the medal winning capability or in the Olympics, or creation of more champions in days to come. It's important to increase the base of the pyramid and have fun. And as we do it, we'll automatically create a culture of sports in this country.
Excellent. I think Deep, it couldn't have been put better that not every student who studies science becomes a scientist. I was talking to Sharat Kamal, and he said one thing, that parents can wait for their kids to become engineers for 16, 17 years, but they want the fast results when it comes to sports.
Right.
Why not? Why not let they enjoy the process? I think it is something goes in the same line, and very well said. I think the message was loud and clear. Is making India play is let the kids be kids, let them enjoy, let them play, have fun, and let them have outdoor. So with that, Deep, really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot for all the wonderful insight that you gave, and couldn't have been any better day than today, which is National Sports Day, to talk about one of the biggest mission in India, which is making India play. Thank you, Deep, and stay safe.
Thank you, Siddharth. Pleasure talking to you. And I hope you are able to extrapolate this whole medium for driving consumption of sports in this country. Best wishes to you. And like you said, stay well and stay safe.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the encouragement that you're giving us on Sportsy. Thank you for liking and sharing it. Please do subscribe on our channel, Sportsy Says, on YouTube, as well as please subscribe to all the handles across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We really appreciate your support. We are here to talk about sports. So let's talk sports on Sportsy Says. Please do subscribe. Thank you.